Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunushumme, washmale. Ohai gozaimas, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Halishuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aya, anayo hasayo, hosh galden, and thank you very much everybody for tuning into P2 World. You certainly watching World this morning. Alongside the very well learned who happens to be Miss Haja Sati. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. Make sure that you remember us all, our entire team, in your prayers too as well. Not just on Friday, throughout the week and throughout all the year too as well. But first things first, hello Haja, how are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum and thank you so much for asking me. So Shahzad, a week ago, I met my best friend, and especially when, we are in a corporate life, we are busy in our, professional lives. So, you don't find that much time, to interact with your best friends and you're so busy with your life. But, once you do, so there's so much to talk about, there's so much to discuss about it. And I think that it's a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a best friend, who is your loving critic and who gives you very, tough truths too, because that helps you improve when it comes to that, right? So Shahzad has been asking me, that we need to talk about the friendship, and I really wanted to ask you, why do you want to talk about the friendship?
Thank you very much for saying that, because I believe, this is the kind of friends you really want. So ladies and gentlemen, I think what we're going to do is that I'm going to let you lead, right?
Okay. Okay, so and how many do you think that you should have a large circle of the friends, or do you think that you should have a close circle of the friends? What sort of a person are you when it comes to that?
I think what I need to do is, because my mic might not have been working properly, so I would want you to kind of move on towards the news. Meanwhile, I'm going to fix my mic. In fact, we're going for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned to PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning. We had to rush out towards a short break because of a technical difficulty. I speak very loud, which is why the mic couldn't really comprehend my voice too as well. But with the newer mic, I am the newish version of Shazad too as well. But, I want to refer to where my wonderful colleague actually asked me a question, why and, what sort of friends we really need to have. So imagine, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a rain check too as well for each and every one of you who are out there. You can even do it right now. So all you need to do is just call your friend and pretend that, God forbid, if it's an emergency, and you really want somebody to be your friend who actually says no problem. So no matter what you say, your friend is really supposed to say no problem. You call them, you say, hey, you know what? I'm in need of cash. My business is on the down. Please make sure that you can help me. And he says no problem. And you call them, there's some happiness, there's sad news, you call your friend, and once again they say no problem, we will be right next to you. I think these are the kind of people you really need to surround yourself as friends. Speaking of which, I have such a friend too as well, even in PTV World. I would want to name him. So Junaid, I have a lot of friends, alhamdulillah, who would always say no problem. But Junaid Khalid, you happen to be one of those as well. Not just that, on the contrary, I have another friend. So imagine, this is why we're doing this rain check as well. It's a very important message, who really never wanted to do anything. He would always procrastinate. He was always lazy. He was not a hard worker. So somebody suggested to him that, hey, you know what, why don't you go and make friends with people who are hardworking? He was like, okay, yes, that's something I'm going to do. So he did that, 2 months later, he came back. The same guy who actually suggested, yeah, what happens? He was like, now the rest of them do not even feel like working too as well. So you really need to make sure that you have a very conducive environment and the people you surround yourself with say no problem, no matter what happens, all right? So make sure that you start calling now.
Okay, do you think it's a viable advice, when if there's a problem and they say no problem, so I think, you can be in a bit of a trouble, but it depends on the situation, on the context, of course. And, this reminds me of that Urdu ka proverb, which says, "Kharbuza kharbuze ko dekh ke raag makarta hai." So,
No, but with that, there's another important thing, and that is that in the first place, we are never expecting anything from any human, So anything which will be given to us will be by Allah Almighty. But yes, obviously, I think when we talk about living over here on this planet Earth, you really need to kind of come across people too as well. But with that, I think we have a friend of such sort over here in the studios with us. Who, whether she happens to be a friend with someone or not, she's out there to help people. She's out there to help people fight their depression, anxiety, or probably any other issue too as well. Not just that, she's actually helping and using yoga for the people to empower them, who might have, God forbid, suffered from domestic violence too as well. She started yoga back in 2000 when I don't know how many people actually knew about it too as well. She's over here all the way from New Zealand. She's a certified yogi too as well. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, introducing this wonderful friend who's actually over here inside our studios today, taking out time because she will be leaving for New Zealand soon too as well. I don't know. She's been traveling all over the world. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be Dr. Amna Muzaffar Qureshi. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Ni hao. Guten Morgen. And pakhair agale.
Pakhair agale. Thank you very much for joining us. I like the energy. Thank you very much for taking out time on a very short notice. And it's beautiful to have you over here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Jazakallah. So first things first. Why did you venture into yoga? And that too is, we speak about 2000. I think I was just 13 years old back then, never knew what yoga was. So how did it happen for you?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, and a lot of people ask me that. I believe that self-care is very important. And I started reading about yoga. My dad is a Rhodes Scholar, and I was just browsing through his study. I found a book on yoga. I started reading, and I gradually started practicing. That was way back in 2000. And I realized as much as I started doing it regularly, it really helped me. During that time, obviously, I was also working in different capacities, and while one is working, there are always certain challenges. And I just experienced myself that it is a great help. Why not I actually take it as a profession, get a certification, and start helping people? I also, a few years back, I lost my mother. And that again was a very difficult phase of my life. because I was practicing yoga, it really helped me. Otherwise, I would have been totally depressed.
True.
So that's how I was into this. I started experimenting and seeing how can I make it easy for the audience, for the clients to make it work for them.
Exactly, and it's a wonderful point which you have made, and it's because of the fact that just yesterday I was reading something where it said that you really need to prioritize your joy time. So for me, my joy time is going to the gym. Unfortunately, for the last 2 weeks, I was not able to because of an injury. But yesterday, when I got back, I was all happy. I was excited as well. So when you speak about yoga for somebody who happens to be an academician too as well, how do you kind of find a balance? Because for you, that might be something too as well. You happen to be a doctor, a PhD scholar yourself. So why, because our parents would tell us, beta exercise kam karo, padhai zyada karo. So you, after padhai, you're like, okay, exercise zyada karo. Why would you say that?
Thank you for asking that. That's another, my objective. In fact, what is I want to introduce in schools, colleges and universities, that this little bit exercise along with studies, it really benefit.
Wow.
It's not a waste of time, right? And how I balance, because I was into teaching, I've been still teaching. Sometimes what I do is, and how I started was teaching a course on stress management and talking about physiological techniques. In that, I thought, why not I use my skills, because I had students from different nationalities. They obviously, when you are in a different country studying, you've got a family and studying, trying to look for a job, a lot of challenges.
True.
I wanted to help them. So what I did was that I used to teach every week. There is a class, and half an hour I used to take them outside in fresh air and do little bit meditation and yoga with it.
Wow.
Some sort of exercise. Initially, it was a surprise to them. Some of them were shocked that, as you're saying that why should the exercise be there? Why not just in a classroom? But gradually it helped them so much that they themselves kept giving me their feedback. Their student evaluations were such that it tremendously helped them. And whenever I meet them, even if they've graduated, they are doing it.
If I would have been your student, I think every single day I would have requested you, ma'am, pehle yoga na kar le.
That is, and I actually,
say
it
that,
is so
such a
important.
wonderful teacher you were, asking students to go and exercise.
No, it really
and
helps.
that really helps.
That refreshes their mind.
That's true, because a lot of time, you're sleeping in the class, and, then teachers, go on a very rot learning mode, and, you don't know how to pick up the subject. Speaking of yoga, so in the West, I do feel that it has gained a lot of traction in past few years, I feel. It has always been there in the, I think, Eastern societies. Yes. Meditation was in some form always there in our society to, be in the form of the Sufism or stuff like that. Why do you think there's so much, focus on this self-awareness, on the meditation, on the yoga, and do you think, that there is some sort of spiritual void which is going on, especially considering the ways, the Western societies had adopted, and it's not just the Western societies, I think it's us also, because, we are a lot
Speaking of the spiritual void?
Yes, because I do feel that, we are binge watching, we are eating a lot of junk food, and that's a diversion. Okay, you're not doing it? I need to ask your wife about that, okay? I don't know if I get an honest answer from you or not. Okay, so, yes.
So self-aware, being aware of yourself, your body, listening to your body is so important.
Right.
I always tell my clients, my students, whosoever I'm working with, that always listen to your body. Yoga was, as you know, it was introduced from India, and a lot gradually now in Pakistan there is a lot of awareness about yoga. Basically, on the West, it's totally more in terms of it's a fashion rather. Okay. A lot of people would say, okay, I'm doing yoga, and people would, wow, he's really fit and this and that. But basically, the concept is you need to be having a connection between your mind, body and soul. That's important.
Right.
And even if you don't talk about yoga when we pray, it's a sort of meditation, because you are basically just in yourself, right? That's what we look at it. So self-awareness is so important. When, as you said, binge eating and all those things, my another thing is that I believe our body self heals.
Right.
And even whatever we eat, our body is giving signals.
True.
If it is helping, we feel better.
Right.
And sometimes people get bloating, or they'll feel lazy, lethargic, or a headache. It is giving you a signal that what you just ate is not good for you. But
That's
we
true.
just ignore
I
that.
think it's because of our manifestations too as well, you know, so whatever you manifest, you attract that too as well, you know, because this is how the law of energy works. But yes, please move on.
Okay, so I was going through your bio and I found some really interesting stuff that you also helping people who are suffering through the domestic abuse and women who are going through the violence. So how do you think that yoga helps you to identify a safe mental space when it comes to healing from the domestic abuse or surviving that entire very humiliating episode?
It definitely does, and that is why, as my being in this program, I really want to give the message to our Pakistani women to create more awareness. I work with the victims of violence, and unfortunately, when a lot of women who may be going through it, they do not register it.
Right.
So it's really important. I deliver psychoeducation program, creating awareness about domestic violence and abuse, and trying to help them to identify signs of abuse. Because if it's identified right in the beginning, you can stop it
Right.
before it gets out of control. And while I'm teaching them, or when the victims are narrating their stories,
Right.
they break down.
Right.
And during that process, I take a pause.
Right.
I give them a glass of water.
Right.
They collect themselves, and then they are able to, a little bit, when they are able to speak or a little bit relaxed, I do deep breathing with them. I help them do a little bit of neck rolls, shoulder rolls, and all those, seated postures, so that they can relax a bit. They are
Right.
too stressed out. I take a break. I say, okay, lie down, and I try and relax them from head to toe.
Right.
It helps.
Right.
And a lot of people say they don't have time. Even my victims would say they're looking after children, they're going through difficult time, no time for this.
Right.
What I advise is, when you're going to sleep, as you're lying down,
Right.
relax your body and
Right.
just try and deep breathe. Breathe in for 3 minutes, and as you're breathing out, count till 6. So
Right.
breathe out longer and more relaxed.
Right.
It definitely helps healing, it clears one's mind.
Right.
These victims shared with me later on that those who were suffering from high blood pressure, their blood pressure was controlled. They could sleep better, and their pains, aches, when you're stressed, you get all those aches.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that was all gone. So it
Right.
definitely helps
And
healing.
even at times, if you go for a massage too as well, there are some pains which you will continue to carry too as well. And that's where, my point is going to come in, where I said that, you really need to prioritize your joy time. And once you get the hook of it, I think you're never going to abandon it too as well, which I believe is great. But I now want to come down to how, somebody who happens to be a PhD scholar, a lot of students, and then all of a sudden we have an Amos yoga
Amos
center,
Yoga.
Amos Yoga Center as well. So how was that journey for you? And is it fulfilling? Do you think that it enriches your spirits too as well, and raises your morale too?
It really helps. Obviously, it is more satisfying for me. That is why, because if you are into academic role, obviously there's no end to it. It keeps on going, and a lot of perks you get. But when you're talking about yoga, I didn't do it in a gym in a commercial way. My motive always was to help people. And Amos Yoga is how I'm doing. And it is, I have a Insta, AAMOS_yoga. I would like to share it with the audience so that they can contact me. I would like to help them. And Amos Yoga Facebook page, any message they want to give. Through this yoga, I worked with people who going through challenging behaviors. And there were people, I worked with a lady, I would like to quote, who was going through multiple sclerosis. She couldn't move any part of her body. The stage she was at was the highest level. You can't speak, you can't eat.
Right.
All she did, she's lying down on a bed, and she was only listening to my breathing instructions. that deep breathing, breathe in and breathe out.
Right.
That gradually helped her manage pain after a few weeks,
Kya baat.
and she could sleep better. So
Right.
I definitely feel more satisfied doing this kind of work.
Which is why I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and all you have to say is a yes or no. You know, if you think that it needs any sort of explanation, you can obviously take your time. So first of all, are we talking about that yoga can actually help people who are specially abled? Yes. Yeah, and you've done that too as well. You know,
I've experienced helping.
you can even quote that. So are we talking about that people living with hypertension can actually kind of control their disease?
Definitely.
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 People who actually have anxiety and depression can get better,
Yes, for
And-
sure.
and people can fall in love even if you do yoga.
Why not? There
Because-
are always positives.
because
I
most-
think your wife needs to see this.
I
We're
think
talking about
because
love and
most of the time
Uh,
whenever you watch a movie, I think that you know that love scene is going to come in whenever the yoga class is taking place or the song is going to come in. So I think
Okay,
that's
a
how
very brilliant justification, for diverting
you know
your attention.
it's great how you're trying to pull my leg, but I'm never going to give you a chance and it's only because she
I
had to make her own breakfast today early in the morning.
No, I'm not bothered about it.
No, actually, your last question. In Pakistan, it's not very common. There is a couple yoga as well. You know, husband,
see?
wife. You can just
Right.
go and do couple yoga.
Right.
You can develop same interest
Right.
and relax
else?
at the same point.
Okay, so coming back to the question of self-esteem, right? Yoga definitely helps with your confidence, and as you've been talking about how breathing is really good for the people, with the hypertensions and whatnot. So there are people who are sort of overconfident, and they do have some sort of overinflated sense of the self-esteem, right? So how do you explore the relationship between the yoga, between the self-esteem, and how to make yourself more better? And in addition to that, how do you manage the others' perception about you? Obviously, you know that not every perception matters, but when you talk about those perceptions, sometimes there can be a good feedback when it comes to that. So how can you be a more smarter consumer of the feedback, especially when it comes to the yoga?
Yeah, how can you be sagacious and if you're hyperactive? Sugar rush with kids,
Right.
that happens quite a lot. They have fizzy drinks and then they're all over the place.
Yes. So there is also kids yoga nowadays. That's really
interesting.
helps the kids.
Okay.
And I usually tell my clients, those who have children, that when you're coming for a session, bring your kid along. I'm not the type of instructor who would say no kids. I encourage,
Right.
because the sooner they start, the flexible they are, the easier it gets.
Right.
And for those who are hyperactive and things, I would like to talk about 2-me concept, which is take out 2 minutes for yourself.
Okay.
I'm sure people say they don't have time, but in 24 hours you can take out 2 minutes, ideally 5 minutes.
Right.
Do some deep breathing, try and relax your shoulders.
Right.
People who, busy bees, what I tell them, you're driving to work, coming back from work, you are just on a traffic light waiting for
Right.
it to turn green. Why not just relax your
I fall
shoulders?
asleep whenever I do deep breathing, so can't do it in the car.
You can't do it, just do shoulder rolls
Yeah.
or neck rolls, some
That's fine.
sort of,
Okay.
it's so important. When I'm working with an organization, if I'm chairing a meeting, I've worked in different sectors, so I always start my meeting with 10 minutes, shoulder rolls, neck rolls,
Wonderful.
deep breathing, some sort of exercises.
Stretches.
And because I work as a chair, I teach chair yoga as well. You're sitting on your office table.
Right.
You don't have time to go to the gym. Why don't
Right.
you stretch your legs?
So actually, I would like to, tell here that I have a condition called scoliosis, and I do get a lot of back pain, especially when I do a long drive. And I wanted to tell you that yoga helps me a lot. It's the only cure, that could help my back pain. I mean, medicines can help, but taking the painkiller is not always the good solution to it, because I think it builds some sort of immunity, and next time you take it, that wouldn't help when it comes to
Yes,
that.
I think I have another solution or a suggestion too as well. Since alhamdulillah you happen to be a rich lady, you can hire a driver for yourself too as well, and sit at the comfort of your car too as well. But very quickly,
Last
You know,
message.
so Amo, right?
Amo.
Amo, that's what your friends call you, so it's wonderful to have you here. Towards the end, there's one last question, that is, so you've spoken about how you're helping individuals for, you know, from different nationalities. You go over places, you make sure, you know, people who suffer from domestic violence, and there's couple yoga, then there's yoga for kids. Don't they actually come back to you and be like, yeah, why do you actually have to expand your business so much? Why can't you just keep it to us? You know, because, you know, most of the time you do get busy, and when your attention diverts from the people you've been looking after, they kind of feel it too.
Well, that's not the case, because you know, I even tried and maintained that contact during COVID. We were always in contact with the clients and always looking at, and my concept is such that I'm not commercial. For these victims of violence, I don't charge them. This is just for their well-being. So it's not a commercial thing, and they know it's not that type of a business. So it is a different way of, my only way of helping them. And that's why I shared my contact.
Sure, please go ahead. And if you have a message for our viewers, please go ahead, because we go out in 46 different
All right,
countries.
so
alhamdulillah.
thank you so much. My message to the viewers is that please, whenever you feel that you're going through a difficult phase, do not blame yourself and do not punish yourself. Try and be strong. That's important. My Insta is Amos_yoga. If you need any help, please contact me, and my Facebook is also Amos Yoga. I would be happy to keep in touch with you anytime I can help with yoga, meditation. I'm always here.
Thank you very much, Amo,
Lovely
for being with
message.
us. Lovely to be in conversation with you, because you, alhamdulillah, carry one of the best smiles in this world, and I think that's the best curve on a human body too as well. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Amna Muzaffar Qureshi Saiba, for taking our time.
Pleasure.
On your way back, make sure while you're in the plane, you do your yoga, your deep breathing, your shoulder rolls too as well. And for everybody who's out there, I mean, this is something which I've practiced for myself. You know, there were days when, you know, it was hard for me to sleep. You know, when you think too much, you know, you're career oriented, you really want to be professional and you want to achieve your goals, you pray first of all, and then you do deep breathing, all right? That literally helps. With that, we're actually heading out towards a,
Short break.
and she needs to hire a driver.
And I
अज़्म आली शान, शाद रहे पाकिस्तान।
I am Muhammad Saeed Sheikh, President, Houston Karachi Sister City Association. I am delighted to convey my special greetings to celebrate the 75th independence anniversary of my beloved motherland, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. This celebration also marks the 75 years of establishment of Pak-US diplomatic relations, which is based on multifaceted and strategic. This partnership has contributed towards regional international peace and stability. We at the Houston Karachi Sister City Association will continue to play our role in connecting the corporate leaders of two nations. The Pakistani American community will also continue to bring both countries together. Long live Pakistan, long live Pak-US friendship.
Welcome and good day to you all. It is none other than an absolute honor for me to be congratulating my countrymen for their 75th Independence Day. That also marks the Diamond Jubilee for Pakistan-American relations, and I feel absolutely delighted to call USA and Pakistan both my home. This partnership has contributed towards regional international peace and stability, and U.S. has made valuable contributions towards the socio-economic development of Pakistan. The Pakistani community in U.S., a connective tissue binding the two countries together, and Pak American community is already making valuable contributions and committed to continue with their efforts for development of both the countries.
अज़्म आली शान, शाद रहे पाकिस्तान।
Welcome back, and it's the International Youth Day. That concerns me, and I think I'm leaving Shehzad out because he's my mamu actually in the studio. Okay, and he said that I can call her.
I really need you to go see your mommy too then.
I will, especially after today's episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so, that was on the lighter note. He's my brother, of course. So the theme, and he's laughing
It was a
himself.
good one. It was a good one.
He's laughing himself, so I think he considered himself the
I
mamu.
liked it. I liked it.
Okay,
I liked
okay.
it, yeah.
So today's theme is intergenerational solidarity, creating a world for all ages. So we were talking, before going on a break, that, how we really need to create a world that is, inclusive of all the generations. But, there's always some sort of gap, which is left between the generation. And Shehzad was talking about, that how we, shy away from discussing certain topics with our parents because we feel they might take it differently. We feel that, they are not that much connected in today's world, and they will say that, these are not the sort of the values that we have instilled in them. So Shehzad, you have daughters, mashallah, and you're also living with your parents. So how do you feel the gap? Do you feel there is a gap between your daughters and between your parents? So how do you bridge that gap?
Personally, on a very personal level, what I have experienced for myself is that, there was a time when I used to actually be very shy about certain things to talk with my parents.
Right,
And then I realized that, hey, you know what, if I'm not going to ask my parents, who else am I going to ask for?
Right.
Thank God. And Alhamdulillah, I've always had that bond with my father.
Right.
My mother does not really like to talk about such tabooed or stigmatized topics too as well.
Right.
But with my daughters, I'm very open about, speaking the right thing on the right time too as well. Because if, God forbid, I'm going to brush it under the carpet, then later on they would feel as if, it was okay then, it should be okay now. So I kind of at times think that, it is before time that I'm kind of conveying it to them. But I believe the sooner, the better. So, this having solidarity amongst all generations is something which is going to help us learn from our elders. And then probably transcend on that too as well, sharing, disseminating the information, which I believe is great. Which is why, in days to come, if we are going to learn from their experiences, we will have people who will be entrepreneurs, we will have people who will have a bigger vision, we will have people who will make lesser mistakes because they have learned from the other generations.
Especially when it comes to our parents, I feel that, sometimes it's really difficult to change their way of thinking about the things because, so my sister was talking about to my father, that how she doesn't like, people smoking around. It includes men and women too. And she said that, I don't like this, taboo that, when women smoke, it's attached to them that they're not good women and stuff like that. So you should not smoke because it's not good for your health. It's not good for your liver and whatever damages it causes to it. But, I think that the labeling is not the same. It's very gender unequal when it comes to that. And she said that, but I wanted to try it once, and my father was like, beta, main tumhari jana batata hu main tumhe.
Even with your mom, you can't change her mind because I happen to be your mamu, right? Remember?
Yes.
I'm her brother, so I know her. But yes, that is important. It's a very important message, Haja, which you've given away. But yes, we do have examples when parents do empower and when there is solidarity amongst generations. Kids do learn, they excel, they progress. And, they are way ahead from where we started. So we have such an example over here where this amazing, beautiful daughter of the soil, ladies and gentlemen, actually initiated her own business when she turned 16.
Right.
She's still 16, alhamdulillah, and she's becoming a successful entrepreneur too as well. What
Right.
is she doing is something which I want her to let the world know. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by Ms. Shanze Kazalbash as well, who happens to be an entrepreneur. Hello, bete. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely perfect, and thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Shanze, when you started out your business,
Yes.
so especially in West, it's now a lot of the kids say that we want to be a YouTuber when we grow up, or maybe not grow up, just we want to start right away. And so my sister said that to my mother, she's like, what, this is even a field or not? So how were your parents when you said that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and you want to promote your page on Insta or social media? I'm not sure about Insta.
So, my dad has no idea.
All right, still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very happy man then.
And and my mom has been supporting me throughout the whole process, and she's always been supporting me, even from like elementary school. I told her I wanted to be an artist, and for the longest time I really wanted to be an artist, and so that's how I got into business.
Okay.
Yeah.
She told me to get into business because I wanted to be an artist.
Right.
So I got into business reluctantly, and I
Unwillingly.
yeah.
Yes.
And I started loving it, and I started making a cheesecake. I made a cheesecake for my brother's birthday,
MashaAllah.
and
You spoiled 16 cakes first, and then you made the 17th one.
yeah.
Yes.
And I wanted to remake it again after a couple of years. And my mom's friend, who happens to be a business mentor, he had it, and he told me to start a cheesecake business.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's a great idea, because I want to start a business. And yeah, now I have.
And let me tell you that,
Right.
that one fine day when your father is going to get to know that you, alhamdulillah, happen to be a successful entrepreneur, and that
Yeah.
too at such a young age,
Right.
he will feel as if it's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because as a father of 3 daughters, this is what I feel and pray for every single day for my daughters and for every other daughter too as well. That one day I wake up and somebody tells me that they're successful in life, alhamdulillah, they're healthier, they're wealthier, they're brainy, and they're doing
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff too as well, which they wanted to do.
Right.
And they should have that freedom. So, let's speak about freedom too over here,
Yeah.
because for anybody to nourish their own goals and their future and walk onto their path which they have decided for themselves, it is very rare that we get to see
It
that.
is, yes.
Otherwise, it's
Right.
the parents or the nanny or the dadi, choosing a career path for all the younger
Right.
generation kids too as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you might have discussed it that, okay, Maji, I wanted to do baking, I wanted to be an artist, I wanted to express by baking
Yeah.
cheesecakes.
Yeah.
And while we are speaking of it and while she's going to answer it, I'm going to bring in the cheesecakes too as well. So please go ahead, tell us, freedom.
Well, freedom is very important. Well, I was living with my dad's house. My parents are divorced. I was living at my dad's house. I didn't have much freedom. For the longest time, my dad has been trying to get me to become a doctor or an
Okay.
architect,
Okay.
which I do not want to become.
Okay.
And after I moved into my mom's house,
Okay.
She gave me a bunch of freedom,
Okay.
like a lot of freedom.
Okay.
And so that's why I have a whole business now, and I have a
Mashallah.
job at the same time, and I'm in
Mashallah.
school at the same time.
MashaAllah.
All right,
So,
so-
you are a jack of, what do you call it? Master of none, jack of all, right? That
Jack
sort
of all trades, master of some. I think
Master.
that's...
Okay, we call it in journalism master
All
of
right,
none.
so ladies and gentlemen, we do have
Lovely cheesecake.
Orenda Bakes over here, and lovely cheesecake. It's called one. I'm going to take it,
Okay.
and one we're going to have it over here. All right. So here's the first one, ladies and gentlemen. So you can explain about you venturing into the cheesecake business.
Yes, so I first started out as like giving my brother cheesecake because he loves cheesecake, and it was my first time making a cheesecake.
Can I be your brother? I love cheesecakes too.
He's in Canada.
All right, I'll go to Canada.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
you
what you want.
Yeah.
Get a cheesecake. Oh, wow, pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. So did you had your, baking, what do you call, disasters? Because,
Yes.
one time I think I put a flour, instead of flour, I put, a plaster of Paris because they looked the same and it was so hard.
Why would you have plaster of Paris in your kitchen?
I don't know. My mom, does all of this
marble
arts and
ceilings-
craft.
marble ceilings and everything.
Arts and craft things with
Okay.
that. Making something with
So
the
you
wall.
want to go first?
Well, you go for it. Okay.
No, you
thank
don't want it? She
Okay.
wants it. You know, when you see somebody where, you know, their mouth all of a sudden goes dry, and you know, there's a gulp too as well, that's when they actually want it too as well. They're like, okay, you know, we want it. Okay,
So I think Shahzad is a real foodie.
you go ahead first. You go ahead first.
So he understands, you know, the condition.
All right,
you
so
know.
ladies and gentlemen, it's about time that I'm going to test it.
It's lovely. It's
Bismillah
lovely.
Rahman
It's
Rahim.
really good.
Let me
It's lovely.
comprehend.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
So I had it on. Okay, so Shanza, please tell us about, you know, your baking disasters, you know.
Yes, so I failed around 16, 17 times. I've tried different sizes. Some have been overcooked, undercooked. Some have completely like exploded.
Okay. Especially with the cheesecake?
Yes, because like
Okay.
when you take it out, if you take it out too early, it can like goop out everywhere, and it'll be really runny, and it won't be cooked or anything.
Okay.
So I've had like a lot of disasters, and
Okay.
it takes a long time to make a cheesecake as well. It takes like 2 hours, and then a
And
full.
we have the pictures. Can you explain these pictures?
Yeah, so these are me.
Okay.
These are pictures of me baking at like 5.
Okay,
Maybe.
that's nice.
Yeah, and this was me making one of the smaller cheesecakes.
These are the muffins, right?
This was a pineapple cake I made a long time ago.
Okay, how did it turn out?
I'm pretty sure it was good. I can't remember. But these were cupcakes I made. I was
lovely.
like in the process of making cupcakes for
Okay.
Halloween. And yeah, this is the cheesecake that I was making.
I think for a child of the 5 years of the age and making the muffins and the cake, that's lovely because, you know, whenever I turned out into the kitchen and, you know, did some disaster, my mother was like, you know, sugar is very expensive, do not come again in the kitchen because you destroy a lot of things. So, you know, then I say that, you know, nature doesn't want me in the kitchen, so I don't go to kitchen, you know, so I get the food. And if I don't get it, so I don't eat it, you know, because I have this habit that if someone is going to put a plate in front of me, then I'm going to eat it.
So I think it's about time that I review it too as well. Alhamdulillah, Orenda bakes, ladies and gentlemen. So we just had a cheesecake. I in fact had almost 50% of it just by myself. So
I think it's 65%.
you because that 10% you took too as well, all right?
Okay.
So you know, while we actually speak about the cake, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, obviously it tastes fresh. It tastes fine too as well on your palate, and it gives you that very bursty feel of that cheesecake you want. And then when you talk about the bottom of it, probably, you know, if we refer to it as a crust or probably the base of it, I think it's well intact. You know, it's not breaking, it's not falling apart too as well. So I think it's 10 on 10. Thank you very much. You did a wonderful job.
you.
And it's good that you've experimented with 16 cakes, but if you brought them here, the spoiled version, we still might have had it too as well.
No.
Which I believe is great. But now, you know, at the age of 16, since you've launched your own business, where do you want it to be? I know that it's the most difficult question because, you know, most of the times I've been questioned while I was working for television, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? And then I was like, okay, wherever Allah's going to take me, the intent is there, I will work hard. So what is your intent?
So I plan to grow this business into like a full bakery. I'm going to have
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to eat it now because after the show's done, you know, everybody's going to hop onto it. I'm going to have the most of it. Yeah.
I think it's now 70%. Okay.
So I will have cupcakes and actual like proper cakes and cheesecakes and proper cakes.
And what about the ingredients? You know, do you import them or, you know, you can find them, you know, in the local market? What about it?
So I am from Canada and I live in Canada.
Okay.
So I brought all those ingredients from Canada here.
Okay, because I can feel that in that taste.
Yeah.
These are not local.
No, they're not.
Right.
Some ingredients are from America.
Right.
And I don't know if you can find them here. I haven't like probably looked because I have my own ingredients.
Right.
But sour cream is a very big
Yeah, I could feel that.
a very big ingredient in, in cheesecake.
Right.
Which you can get here, that I know.
Right. But it tastes different.
It does a little bit. Yeah.
Even if you have a cup of tea in US, ladies and gentlemen, it's very different. You certainly do not feel like having a cup of tea in US. You really need to bring your own tea bags from here and then kind of enjoy that tea because we are so habitual of it. But thank you very much, Shanzir, for being with us. We really want to wish you best of luck. If there are any Insta pages you want people to follow, please look into the camera, say whatever you feel.
My Instagram for Arenda Bakes is Arenda_bakes_official. on Instagram, and my website is www.arendabakes.com.
Wow, that's wonderful.
yeah.
So may all the success come and be at your feet too as
Thank
well.
you.
You enjoy the most of it. You keep on working hard.
Thank
you
you.
venture into different businesses.
Yeah.
You become an investor too as well. You know, for
Yeah.
different ID companies. You know, the world is open to you.
Yeah.
For everybody out there, I think my humble request is going to be: please make sure that you go follow her on Insta. Make sure that you support her business, because today, if you're going to show that support, there will
might
be days,
need it,
inshallah,
right.
when she will be coming back, and she will be giving it back to the society too.
Yes.
Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
And since we have a cake over here, so why not, wish her birthday?
Okay.
All right. So, why don't you go ahead and share the birthday wishes?
Okay, so our lovely researcher, Miss Asia's niece birthday is there, and she happens to be, what's her name? Uneza?
Uneza Rashid.
And a happy birthday to you. May you have many more.
May you make sure never to be like your Khala. Happy birthday to you.
Right.
Happy birthday, bete. May Allah give you and all other children, a lot of success, health, prosperity.
Ameen.
Give them what they want. May Allah fulfills all the wishes of their parents too as well. Because parents, ladies and gentlemen, are a blessing. Friends,
That's true.
only those who actually, whenever you call them, say, no problem.
Right, that's true.
Just because early in the morning you asked me about something, I was like, I'm going to do it for you. Did I?
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. So with that, we are bidding you farewell. And next time we will come back with another good episode, with another good research, with another good guest. And also, this is the week of Independence Day. So once again, a very happy Independence Day to everyone, to all the Pakistanis, and especially who are living abroad. But because I think that you understand the real importance of the country, when you are living abroad. So
Exactly, and we're going to have a special dedicated transmission on the
Right.
14th of August. So please make sure that you don't miss out. Please make sure that you stay tuned to PTV wall, because we talk about Pakistanian, and that's something which everybody needs to do.
Right.
Please make sure that there's solidarity amongst all generations. There's
Right.
no generation gap. Help other
Right.
people get into what you're actually doing, and they will eventually help you
Right.
do what they were doing too as well, and which made them successful. So please make sure that you learn from your elderly people. It happens to be Friday. Don't miss out on the prayers. Anyways, pray 5 times a day. Till the next time, Allah Hafiz. Look after yourselves. Good morning. Have a great day.